Welcome back. Welcome in to the Lions Share podcast. The roster is set. Preseason is over. Regular season is on deck. That's right. This is the post 53-man roster cut down episode. We're going to talk about the 53-man roster. We're going to talk about the final preseason game versus the Steelers, injuries, preview to next week's big show where we preview the whole season, and open up the floor to welcoming a new member to the Lions Den at the end there. So you don't want to miss that. And a special message from Jameis Winston in there as well. Welcome back, boys. We've got 10 days till the Lions and the Rams kick off here. About 7 days from when the folks listen to this. 7 days until the opener, Ravens versus Chiefs in the NFL. We are so close. We got college football starting this weekend. But I've got to ask you guys right off the bat. I'm sure you guys saw it. I sent it in the chat. I'm sure a lot of the shareholders have seen it, but the Sports Illustrated Drive to Revive, right team, right town, right time. The Lions have graced the cover in the NFL's or in the Sports Illustrated NFL preview. So I wanted to ask you guys a pop quiz first, which is, when was the last time the Lions were on the cover ahead of the NFL season on Sports Illustrated?
Ooh, it's a great question. I think everyone automatically wants to go to Barry, so I'm thinking like 92, but maybe this is a trick question, and it was Stafford, like 2009.
Maybe.
I'll say. Gosh, am I even right with the year he got drafted? I'll say
You're right.
I'll say 2009. I'll say 2009.
I was also thinking Stafford, Calvin, and Ndamukong Suh. I was thinking I don't know if I can picture that in black jerseys. So yeah, I think I would think not the first year they were together. I'm going to go 2011.
Well, depending on how we want to score this, Andrew's the closest. Surprisingly, this surprised me. I would have been in your ballpark, Mitch. I would have said Barry, which of course he was on in that one. But no, NFL 2012, the NFL preview, Mega Arm and Megatron. So it was Stafford and Calvin on the cover. Damn. And that's the last time. So surprisingly, not as far back as you'd have to go to the
2012.
Yeah. I'll paste it in the chat here. There you go, big and bold for you all. Let's see.
Okay, so they finished 10-6 the year before, so that makes sense. So that was probably like
Team
the
on
first
the
year.
rise.
Yep. You guys want to know something depressing? Let me give you guys a pop quiz. What was the Packers' record in that same season?
Oh,
Lions
Packers.
finished 10-6.
Oh, in the 2011?
Yep.
I'm gonna say 14-2.
Okay.
Is this the year where they were like? I'm going to say like 8-2 at one point.
Let me give you the bend. Maybe.
All right, Packers record. They were 10-6. Yeah, I'm gonna go. What is that? 13-3.
15-1, boys. Got the first round bye, and then they lost to the New York Giants.
Oh, the G-Men, not the G-Men.
And the Giants would famously go on to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
That's kind of crazy because that Packers record would probably have more, highlight if not for this for the Patriots going 16-0.
You would have never ever thought about that, right? Like who cares about the Packers in 2011? Honestly,
I knew Rodgers was cooking in that time, so that's why I went high with mine. But I did not recall them only having one loss that year. That's crazy.
That was the year the Pats went 13-3.
Oh, that's my bad.
So it's almost even more impressive that like the Packers went 15-1 and no one cares. And how the turntables have turned. AFC West records 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 7-9.
Oh man, that could be
just incredible.
That could be the NFC South of today.
Fast forward to the here and the now and the drive to revive.
Oh, gotta love a good throwback, though. I can't believe I forgot what year the Patriots went 16-0. 53-man roster, which was actually a 52-man roster yesterday, and they picked up a couple spots to fill it up to 53. But in years past, this was probably a bigger deal for the Lions. You know, the first year Andrew and I did this podcast, we had a big old episode about the cuts, and who could forget, Andrew, when we went person by person with the soft. Tommy put that soft music track behind it. A nice somber touch to the cuts back then. That was when we had Hard Knocks.
It was like you have the final three in Survivor, and they're giving the send-off to everybody that was voted off the island.
Mitch was just a lonely caller in at that point. I don't even know if he knew what this thing was even about at that point.
I don't think so. I think I took on the persona of Mitch from Fort Wayne much later.
Yeah, I think it was a couple weeks into the season actually. But yeah, it's cut day certainly feels different now for a Lions fan. And in years past, there was a lot of commotion, a lot of movement, and now you feel pretty comfortable about a lot of these positions, which is a unique, weird feeling to be at with the Lions. And so now you're almost in a situation where you got to cut some guys that normally would have made the team. So of note on the offense, DPJ, Zonovan Knight, Zylstra, and who could forget Suggs gets cut on the offense, but we'll talk about who's returning from that list in the form of the practice squad in just a minute. Defense, they lost Gilmore, everybody's favorite cornerback. Not really, though. Mitch harped on him a couple of weeks ago, and rightfully so. And a couple other, I can't even figure out how to pronounce this guy's Ukwo?
It's Uku.
Uku.
Yeah, Dan's talked about him a lot. That one had to have torn him up. He really liked Uku.
There was a lot of debate going into cut day about that one. A lot of people thought James Houston didn't play well enough to earn that roster spot, but Dan likes to err on the side of the veterans, so he keeps James Houston on the roster, and that means somebody's got to go. And we'll talk a little bit more too about Kaminsky too, which is a little weird because Kaminsky's hurt, of course, right now, but still made the roster because of the whole IR rules that have come in. Kyle Pecco also got cut. But here's the list of practice squatters that they have signed or brought back. So Trevor Nowaski, longtime Lions may remember this guy from last year and years past. Saginaw Valley State University product, had spent some time here on special teams last year. Solid player, a linebacker, just in a room full of talent and not enough room for him, so they got rid of him. Went to the Cardinals. The Cardinals cut him. He's back in the on the practice squad. Tim Patrick. This was a big name floated around for the wide receiver. This is a 6'4" guy that last played for Denver, but has had two major injuries and has held him out of the last two seasons. So this guy hasn't played in a couple years. See what we can get out of him, but that's that big body receiver that people were looking for. They brought back DPJ as well. Jake Fromm, who kind of showed out in the game against the Steelers. And to quote Dan, he has my antenna up. No pun intended. So Jake Fromm makes the team, and Suggs is gone. But Jake Fromm will come back in form of the practice squad. Jamar Jefferson, who kind of balled out too against the Steelers, unfortunate, but the room and running back room is just way too full. Allen Robinson, yes, that Allen Robinson is going to come here to the practice squad. And then Kyle Pecco is back. Tom Kennedy, everybody's favorite guy, he's back. And James Mitchell. So the tight end room was looking pretty thin. And then you bring back James Mitchell now on the practice squad.
You said Tom was going to make the roster. You are Tom. Get a jersey. You really should.
Can you get a jersey for a practice squatter?
That's 2 years in a row.
Yeah, you can do anything with a custom jersey.
Does anybody know anything about this Parker Hesse? The other tight end they kept?
I was just looking at the tight ends because I was going to ask you, when's the last time we saw Dan only keep 3 tight ends? At this point, 3 on the active roster. Obviously, you got a couple on the practice squad, but I was a little surprised to see Zylstra gone. And
though? I think a big part of that is Rodrigo's ability to start playing more fullback. I think that's a huge reason why Rodrigo has been obviously has a big influence on special teams and plays in some certain situational stuff on defense, but now you don't have to shift one of these guys in the fullback slot necessarily. You can continue to use Rodrigo in that position. So I think that probably had something to do with this decision.
Yeah, old Parker Hesse, another Iowa tight end product there, tight end U.
That's tough, and I think James Mitchell's still kind of recovering from that injury last year. Probably that's what kept him out.
Yeah, he struggled. He just seems to not get back into form. And so they bring back the new guy with Parker Hesse from Iowa. There, he's been in and out of this team in the past. He hasn't had hardly any game time, and of course Brock Wright and Sam Laporta, you're 1 and 2 for tight ends, but pretty thin. And so that's why you bring back James Mitchell in the practice squad. But for you guys, was there any big surprise on these roster cuts?
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I feel like after the second preseason game, it was pretty set in stone. The only one I think, or not the only one, obviously, but I think the one people were paying the most attention to was Sudfeld and Hooker, and it's a ceiling thing. Like, it's nothing more than a ceiling thing. I think Sudfeld probably definitely lands with another team that has not as firm of a quarterback room, or at least on a practice squad somewhere. But you just get more of that electricity that we talked about. I think the only other thing is Isaiah Williams. We got a lot of small, shifty guys out there, and obviously that's why you bring in, Tim Patrick, and hopefully he can show some things. And Allen Robinson, who we talked about him a little bit, has not gone highest receiving yards in the last 3 years, 410, and that was in 2021. So uphill climb, but hopefully Tim Patrick has a little bit of a higher ceiling as well. But nothing really shocking to me. We need size in the wide receiver room, and Hooker got the nod because he, again, has the higher ceiling.
I think we'll get into all the keeps too, but not keeping Jake Fromm on the active roster, that one's going to be scary, and we'll see what they do with some of these moves going forward too. And then you're going to get into it on the John Kaminsky thing a little more, but very odd to keep him. Uku, I hope he's sticking around, but I'm sure he's going to get claimed, if not already.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's been very, very kind of, the fireworks aren't quite there as much as years past, just because there's less discrepancy now. And I think the biggest things we've seen online, the James Houston thing was a little surprising. It felt like he did just enough in the preseason to keep it himself on this roster, and obviously he moved
enough.
around. Justin, or no, just wait, just. And then a little known one here is that they got rid of Scott Daly, who's been here for a couple years as a long snapper.
Really?
Yeah. Farewell to Scott Daly, and they bring in this guy Hogan Hatton, who I've heard good things about him, but it's hard to evaluate the long snapper position, of course. But Scott Daly, yeah, that's kind of sad to see. What Andrew alluded to on the John Kaminsky thing, which is interesting, and Kyle Pecco and Uku were kind of these guys that didn't make it because of this. So there's a new rule in 2024 that allows teams to place 2 players onto injured reserve at cutdowns while still maintaining their ability to return during the season. So they gave that to Mosley, who came off the 2 ACLs and now torn pec, and they gave that to Kaminsky, who's got the MCL. They gave it to Mosley and Broderick Martin, which was the surprise because Broderick had just gotten hurt late in that preseason game against the Steelers. So they take up your 2 spots. So then you got to bring Kaminsky on, which is kind of weird. But then I think now that it's been 24 hours since the cuts have taken place, they can now place him at IR and then bring somebody back. Because now we're past the 4:00 Eastern on Wednesday here. So they're saying look for Kaminsky to be put on IR, which will open up another spot for the Lions. So it's just Dan and Brad doing a little 3D chess going on there to try to get the most out of those 53 and maintain some of these guys that are unfortunately banged up with this new rule about the keeping 2 on the IR before you make cuts.
We'll see what happens. Again, my hopes are for Tim Patrick. I texting a big Broncos fan. Heard great route runner, zone beater, and we just need the body. 6'4", we need the body so bad. We need that big body, especially as we get down in the red zone. And if we can beat the zone, that's Goff's strength. So plays to Goff's strengths and the the plays that Ben's calling. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. It's not just another banged up guy. We got enough of those. No offense, boys. But that would be great. I think that would put a lot of minds at ease as we go into this season. Again, averaging 5'10", 110 pounds at wide receiver.
Yeah, I watched a nice little highlight reel of him. Didn't realize he had the injury, so thank you for the updates, boys. Looks really nice. If you hit him in stride, he's not going to stop. He's not great with avoiding down low, but if you can hit him in stride, he's going to get a lot of yards after the catch.
Yeah, I think he's got all the checks, all the boxes. Just the injury thing, you got to make sure he's ready to go, and hopefully here with the practice squad, you can kind of ramp him up, have a little competition with this Mr. AR-15, Allen Robinson the third. He can have a little competition there, and hopefully that rises all tides, and then we get an option there at wide receiver 4. Maybe one of these guys comes into the wide receiver 3 role by the end of the year and eclipses over Khalif Raymond, but. Yeah, need the size, and hopefully this is the perfect solution. You get to kind of try them out here on the practice squad and then elevate them for potentially regular season play here soon. So I think that's the right move. Unfortunately, once you get yourself into this position, it's pretty slim pickings at wide receiver, so you got to pick up guys that have been cut from other teams, namely Allen Robinson and Tim Patrick. Another name out there, too, that maybe they would throw a bone at is Equinemius St. Brown. Amon-Ra's little brother, big brother. I can't remember which one it is, but he's out there as well. Older brother. Thank you, Mitch. And here's a name for you guys. How about Kadarius Toney? He's been cut by the Chiefs. Do we want to? No.
No, thanks.
No.
Just kidding.
Keep moving.
And Puka Nakua's little brother too got cut by the Saints.
I can't believe he got cut.
Well, older brother. Damn, I'm 0 for 2 on brothers today. Yeah, especially
after the one who had the great return.
Yeah, that was him.
Yep.
I can't believe he got cut.
So that's what I think. The knock against him is he's more a return guy, like the route running. And I'd say the same thing, kind of sad, but like same thing with St. Brown, who it looks like I thought the Saints were going to keep him, but my understanding is he's just been kind of a role guy. Like you never see him do anything, and you never saw him do anything on the Packers. So that sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the Lions have had an opportunity to sign this guy. As we were kind of talking on the off air there, Andrew was, came in with the Packers, spent some time with the Bears, and now went to the Saints. Unfortunately, didn't make the team. Now teamless for the time being. But the Lions have had a chance to go get him before, and it just seems like they don't want to. I don't know if there's they don't want to bring the brothers together. I don't know what the story is, but, maybe they do have a reunion here. And so, yeah. So we'll see what happens with Kaminsky and Broderick Martin. Hopefully those that gets ironed out, and then, the defense is looking solid. If you want to go through the roster here real quick, you got at quarterback, of course, they're only keeping 2, as you guys alluded to. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about the Steelers game. But Jared Goff and Hendon Hooker are your 1 and 2. Running back, Gibbs, Montgomery, Reynolds, and Vaki, the rookie there. Craig once again makes the team. Andrew, I'm sure you love seeing that. The veterans back there again. Got to keep 4 at the running back position. Wide receiver, of course, you guys. Yes, go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead.
No, I thought you wanted some input, so I was going to give it to you. I was a little shocked to see Craig Reynolds still on this team.
I think he's living on the coattails of that block against the Buccaneers last year. Who could forget?
I think that might be it. You're right, but dang, I really thought Vaki was going to take his spot.
And Jamar Jefferson did his damnedest against the Steelers to try to take that spot from him too. Had a nice interview afterwards. Talked about how he's growing mentally and as a player, and had a really good showing there against the Steelers, but does get cut, but does get brought back on the practice squad. So, yeah, I was a little surprised there, but it's also a very competitive room. So it's kind of, what Dan's going to do. He's going to take that veteran who's been with the team and has devoted themselves to Detroit. So I get it.
Can I ask a question of the group too? I saw this on Twitter. Does anybody, now that we're removed from it a full season, does anybody miss? I can't even think. I can't even say the name now.
Mr. Anime himself.
Yes, sir. Mitch, Ben, can you help me, please?
Not even remotely. Not even remotely close.
You don't miss him? Is that what you're saying?
No. Do you guys?
I miss the personality.
Oh, Mr.
Yeah,
Jamal.
I mean-
Sorry. Whew.
Personality,
be wrong.
like that's fine, but we basically we upgraded to a faster bruiser. Like Montgomery's our bruiser. He's way faster. Am I wrong? Jamal did not have a good year last year.
No.
And got hurt.
Bad.
No, he got hurt. He was hurt early.
Yeah, it was bad. It was not good for Jamal. But yeah, you do miss the personality. But as Mitch alluded to, it's hard. It's hard, especially with the money he was asking for.
Yeah,
especially with the money he demanded. And he had a great year, so he deserved it. And get your money, but I miss the personality more than anything.
Who could forget? You want to piss like a puppy? Stay on the porch, or whatever it was, something like that.
Man, he treats the fans right too.
Mm-hmm. Good guy. Hate to see him gone.
Bring back Joy
Tight end. Oh well, he was at training camp. He's there in spirit. With Glover Quinn. Sam Laporta, tight ends. Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, Parker Hesse. Offensive tackle, Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, Dan Skipper back again. Colby Sorsdahl back again, the sophomore, and then the rookie, Giovanni Manu, who has kind of been a work in progress, showing a little bit of glimmer, but definitely a long way to go in the offensive tackle room. Hopefully he develops. Interior O-line, you got Ragnow, Glasgow, Big Z, the big signing in the offseason, Awasika and Michael Neese. And then you got a reserve there with Kristen Mahogany. And then going to Andrew.
Does anybody know what's happening with Christian Mahogany?
No, I don't.
He hasn't even reported to the building.
I know.
Since being drafted.
I don't know the question marks there, but I think if he wasn't a rookie, he's probably gone. But because he's a rookie and hasn't shown anything, he's still here.
We were told he had an illness.
Well, we don't judge. It's a judge-free boardroom here.
I'm gonna be real upset if.
Well, he's on the NFI, so he's not.
I know. Just very curious as to what this illness could be.
Well, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to say it. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to your favorite part of the favorite part of this team, Andrew. I think the D line, the D tackles. You got McNeil. You got Reeder, who we'll talk about here in just a minute. Onzawerke, who's been growing and showing off. And then Mekhi Wingo, and then Broderick Martin, who unfortunately got hurt. Tommy, do your thing. Put that on the TikTok. Put that on the gram. Put that on the TikTok. We're growing. We're big here. We're big everywhere. The end. Aiden Davenport, who they signed in the offseason. Paschal, he's back again. James Houston, who could forget. Hopefully he can show off some of the things that he's showed in the past. And then Kaminsky, who was hurt, of course, but may return for a playoff run. And then linebacker core, you got the Anzalone brother back there, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Malcolm Rodriguez, JRM, Jalen Reeves-Maven, my fan favorite, Ben Neiman, and Trevor Nowaski, who they just re-signed. Carlton Davis at cornerback, Arnold Robertson, Rakestraw, Dorsey, Vildor. Shout out to Vildor. He made the team. Like what I'm seeing out of Vildor, he's not going to be asked to do what he had to do last year, which was too much. I think we see a good year. He plays a role, but not a big one. But that's exactly what we need from him. Safety, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Andrew's favorite. Melifonwu, Brandon Joseph, and Lauren Strickland. Specialist, you got Jack Fox. Shout out to the Foxes. He's a punter. Jake Bates, the kicker. They do keep him, of course. And then Hogan Hatton, long snapper. That's your 2024 53-man roster for the Detroit Lions. Book closed. Now we talk regular season.
Love it.
But before we talk about regular season, let's talk about the Steelers game. Mitch, wow. I think you missed this one as well. So did you go 0 for 3 on the games? No, 1 for 3.
Yep, 1 for 3.
Dang.
Listen,
Well, I
the
hope
preseason again. Back to go back to your original point. There's not a ton of intrigue, other than Hooker, which luckily I got to see more of on the last game. But it's just like so much of the stuff is already determined. But shame on me. I should be a better fan. That's my fault. Hand up, boys. I'll be better.
Andrew, I think you were tuned in for this one.
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of it. I mean, it looked good. I'm glad they got their starters in there and they did their thing. Good for them. I would have loved to have seen the Lions get some of that action. Just one drive. I think we've asked for it before. That's all I want to see, is just to see some cohesiveness. What I'm very excited to see, though, is the cohesiveness of this offensive line. This should easily be the best offensive line in the NFL.
That's where they got to hang their hat. And last year, how many times did we say it? We didn't have a core group start a game together consistently for how many games, just because everything was going wrong with the injury department. It was one or the other on either side, or with Ragnar. It was tough last year. Looking forward to that as well, Andrew. So yeah, the Lions do end the preseason 2-1. They got another comeback win against the Steelers there. Same thing they did against the Chiefs. They come back and win it. I like to see that. I like to see some fight out of the boys to go down early, but come back and figure it out. The defense, shout out to the defense. They held the Steelers to just 3 points after the first quarter. So they really locked it down. Love to see that. Offense looked good. The run game looked good. Andrew, to your point about the offensive line, looked really solid out there, even, without the full crew out there. I like what we're seeing. I like the opportunity for hopefully some depth at that position finally. And we got some closers out there, boys. They finished out the 2 games with comeback wins and finished 2-1. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this, boys. Andrew, I don't know if you caught this, but this game was standing room only. It was loud, and I noticed it about a quarter in. It kind of hit me. I'm like, oh shit, this is a preseason game. Why are there so many people there, and why is it so loud? It was louder. I would venture to say, obviously it's not regular season or playoff Lions Ford Field loud, but I would venture to say that's a louder stadium in the preseason than a lot of NFL teams in the regular season. Rams.
Ben, you put in the notes, solid attendance, crowd is loud. That's absurd attendance for a preseason game. That's ridiculous. And Dan, of course, made it a part of his presser. There's just unrivaled fans. Unrivaled in the entire NFL.
Nobody does it better than Detroit with any sport, let alone football. Just caught a clip the other day on TikTok of the 2004 Pistons championship run. And in the city just is obviously a lot of cities go wild, Philadelphia, all these, but nobody does it like Detroit. I'll say it. I have bias, of course, but I think I can say objectively that nobody does it like Detroit. And if, God forbid, a Super Bowl comes to this city, you're going to have people taking the whole week off. I mean, I know what would happen in Detroit. I know what I would do. And it's incredible. I can't look at Andrew Andrew is at mid dinner, folks. I just saw him take what was no small bite of pasta, and now I've lost my train of thought. But Detroit, good sports town. There you go. There you have it. And you're right, Mitch. I wrote that down before I realized that it was standing room only. Didn't go back into the notes and change it. That's on me. Isaiah Williams looked real solid in that game, and that's what won him that spot in the wide receiver core. I like to see that from him. He looks like he's an emerging star, and he didn't look like a rookie out there, and he gelled nicely with Hendon. Excited to see what we see out of the old rook there out of Illinois. And, of course, as I just mentioned, we had Hooker and we had Fromm out there, which was great to see too.
Fans caused 2 false starts, I believed, which is incredible, and standing room sold out, which is wild for a preseason game.
Yeah, I don't know that we've ever seen that. And it's good to see. Not that we ever expected there to be a downfall in the attendance or anything with the prices going up. It's just something to think about. But you hope that after last season, the fans and the team is just as hungry, and if not louder, hopefully breaking some of those decibel records here down the stretch. But yeah, we had Hendon and we had Fromm, which was great to see. I liked what I saw out of both guys. I think in a perfect world, Jake Fromm would be the QB3 And but the Lions, as their maturation process has gone on, now just going to keep the two quarterbacks, and Fromm will be that practice squad guy, kind of the emergency quarterback. But Hendon looked good. His legs look good. His arm is there. His vision's needs some work. Pocket presence needs some work. He's got to work on his progressions, and he needs some confidence. You could see him back there, kind of using the legs as a crutch, so to speak, and in lieu of his arm. So I think you develop that arm, kind of like Lamar Jackson has done. And it was great to see too that Goff was very involved. So, Andrew, did you have anything to add from what you saw from the old boy Hendon Hooker?
He could learn to throw it away every so often. Like that's just about it. That, and if he really is determined to stay in the pocket, it's like he makes up his mind immediately whether he's going to run or stay in the pocket, and that's never going to change throughout the rest of that entire play. And then he goes full Jameson Winston, and he just runs straight backwards on his tippy toes.
I think now you'll see him start to learn to throw it away, slide, what have you, but I don't blame him fighting for a roster spot, because at the end of the day, there's no guarantee. Just because he was a draft pick, like, no guarantee for him either. But I think you're right. I think that'll all come with time. The more field time he sees, the more comfortable he'll get, the more of a veteran he'll look.
Well said, Mitchell. Well said. Jake Fromm too. Andrew, did you have any thoughts on Jake Fromm? I thought he was really solid.
I mean, nothing notable. He's a gunslinger at a very minimum, right? He's going to be a fun practice squad guy.
Absolutely. I think my note would be that he just looked comfortable out there, and that's what I like to see from a quarterback. I think, Andrew, dare I say, Jake Fromm could be Mr. Serviceable. Maybe not for this team, but for another team. I think if called upon, you could get serviceability from Jake Fromm, and that's what we like to see. Not trying to do too much. He is a gunslinger, like you said. He's got an arm for sure, but I think more so that I like over Sudds is he's got the IQ to play back there.
Yeah, over duds, that is. And Dan Campbell himself did say Fromm's been in the building for a short period of time, and he's picking up the playbook very, very quickly. So, to your point, the IQ is there.
Absolutely. For him to play as well as he did against the Steelers, for only being in the building for, I think, less than 2 weeks. I think it was like 10 days. That's pretty remarkable. Maybe even less than 10 days, honestly. So yeah, that's great to see some depth there at the quarterback position behind Goff. Bates missed a field goal, which was kind of tough to see from him. That consistency he's still working on. He rebounded. I think hopefully it's like a 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of thing. We've seen him kind of struggle, but then redeem himself. I think once he's more comfortable there at the position, making the switch from the UFL, I think we're okay with that. Giovanni Manu had 2 penalties, but the staff sounds like they still believe in him through and through. I think they're going to work through those growing pains with him. Jamar Jefferson, as we mentioned earlier, 2 touchdowns in that game. He had a cool interview after. Look it up. Andrew, did you have anything else? I guess Mitch too, if you had anything else from that preseason game against the Steelers. Otherwise, I think everybody, ourselves and the shareholders included, are all just saying the same thing. Let's go play some football, boys. Let's go. Let's get this thing going against the Rams. Sunday night football. We're gonna have college football to kind of get us started this weekend, and then obviously it's the NFL weekend the next, starting things off Thursday. You got the Friday game in there in I think it's in Mexico or somewhere. It's somewhere, right? Brazil actually, I think is where it is. And so a chocked full weekend. Next weekend, you'll have college football sandwiched in there on Saturday, and then NFL kicks things off on the NFL Sunday, and then you got Monday night as well. And the Lions will pull up the rear there on Sunday Night Football primetime. Felines will be in action. I'm so ready. I know you guys are too. I know the shareholders are as well. At this point, I'm just ready. Right? Like I can't wait for the preview show next week where we all talk about our Super Bowl. We all talk about the division winners, and we're going to have some things on the Lions as far as what we think could surprise the shareholders and fans alike, as well as guarantees that we got from this team and stats to track for the year. It's going to be a great year. And I think expectations, boys, as far as the media is concerned, obviously they were on the Sports Illustrated cover. Sports Illustrated picking the Lions to win the Super Bowl. So what a little preview to the preview for the big show next week, but what are expectations going into this year? I know mine are through the roof.
Super Bowl. Andrew's just nodding. Pasta in his mouth. He agrees.
There's zero pasta. Of course we've vacuumed that up very quickly. It's the next logical step. You have to go from the championship game to the Super Bowl.
Did you see the corgi that I sent you? The corgi has Air Corgi or Air whatever he is. The famous dog corgi that bounces the ball into the baskets. Picked the Lions versus the Texans in the Super Bowl with, drum roll please, the Detroit Lions as your Super Bowl champ. So not only Sports Illustrated, but the corgi as well. So, I mean, that's where we're at, shareholders. It feels kind of weird. I'm going to be honest. It feels like I feel like almost guilty for being as excited as or having such high expectations after all these years of pain and trauma. It feels a little weird to be in this position. Not used to it.
Yeah,
Andrew,
guzzle that Kool-Aid is what Papa B is saying right now.
yeah,
Guzzle.
he said not enough. Give me some more. I'll take 2, please. Injuries. Let's talk injuries real quick before we get into some deeper stuff here. DJ Reader, everybody's kind of been on the fence in limbo about this. Dan has been very mum on this up until this point, but Dan has said he has passed his physical, and they did remove him from the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list. He's off of that. However, it doesn't sound great for him to play against the Rams. Dan has very minced words about that, and it sounds like more like week 2 versus the Bucks at this point. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see Reader against the Rams, but it sounds like get your hopes up. Week 2 might be that window. Gibbs is still on track to return. Sam Laporta as well. They got all those guys back into practice this week. Big Z as well, and Malcolm Rodriguez as well back at practice, trying to ramp them up, get them ready for week 1 against the Rams. Penei Sewell got hurt the day after, I think, our last episode, which was a little scary. He did walk off the field in his own power, but it was unfortunate. It was right at the end of their last scrimmage on their last day of training camp or practice, which was a bummer. But it sounds like he avoided any major injuries. It's just a minor thing. They'll work him into getting ready for week 1. Craig Reynolds was banged up as well, and then Broderick Martin going to miss some time, as we said. It hurt there against the Steelers. Looking forward, before we talk about the preview of the Rams next week, looking ahead, we do know that the Rams will not have their starting left tackle, which will allow that defense to tee off on that offensive line with a backup left tackle there. He's been suspended for PEDs or something like that. Don't quote me on that. And they lost their starting linebacker, Ernest Jones, to the Tennessee Titans this week. So opportunity there for the Lions to potentially put up a lot of points and tee off as well on defense. So we'll talk more about that Rams preview next week, but a little look ahead there. Yeah. So NFL news, Jamar Chase got paid. He gets a 4-year, $160 million with $120 million guaranteed, allegedly. And showed up late to practice in street clothes. Not a Lions guy. I'm gonna guess that was you, Mitch, that added that one to the list.
You damn Skippy, that was me.
I did see that right before we hopped on. What's up with that?
I just don't like it. What's up? Are you asking me?
Oh, I just mean, what's the report on that? Like, why did he do that? Do you know?
Where did you see his contract at?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it was Ian
Did you
Rappaport.
make it up?
It was Ian Rappaport. Didn't he sign?
I didn't think he did. I think that's why he showed up in street clothes.
That would make sense.
I don't think. I don't think so.
Oh, Tommy
I
cut
do
that.
not believe he is signed yet.
Okay, so Jamar Chase contract saga takes an unexpected twist. Yeah, I did see that, though. I did see that he's doing a hold-in. I don't know where I got this news from, but I swear I saw him resign.
This is embarrassing, folks. Check your sources.
Tommy wrote that one down, I think.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
CeeDee Lamb did get a contract, though. Confirmed CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, in fact, did get paid.
Even though Jerry said he wasn't.
Jerry's a
4-year,
boob.
136. Cowboys signed God, what's his name? Dalvin Cook today. People were saying that could be the best backfield 2019's ever seen.
Yeah, what are we? We're just gonna keep signing guys well past their prime.
I was gonna say they're rolling with Zeke as their number one right now.
Yeah, I feel
That's
like
crazy.
I feel like that was never going to work. Like they had to sign somebody. I mean, I don't know that Dalvin Cook's the answer, but I feel like you had to do something. You were really gonna put Zeke back there, and I mean,
are we officially gonna say it that the Cowboys will not make the playoffs this year?
ooh,
No,
save it for the big show. But yeah, I feel like in that division in the NFC is just so much. You can get away with a lot more in the NFC, although. The Cowboys do, I think, have the 23rd hardest schedule. So they do have a tougher schedule than the Lions. They do have a tougher schedule than a lot of the NFL does.
23rd hardest, and you think that's hard?
Well, out of 32, strength of schedule. If you have the number one,
class,
if you have the number one strength of schedule, that means that you have the worst teams to play. I may have said that wrong, but
well, we're talking about something. I would say the 32nd ranked strength of schedule is the trash teams.
Well, that's not how they do it. So I linked it in the next document. It's not in this one, unfortunately, but a little helpful for you guys because I want to talk to you guys next week about the Falcons because. I did a little flip-flop on my NFC South after I looked at the Falcons schedule. It is
Tell me
bad.
good things. I drafted Kyle Pitts.
Oh, it's bad, buddy. Like, in a good way. Like, they have the easiest schedule by a good margin. Like, they are leaps and bounds have the easiest schedule. And
Turkey about to run wild.
Oh, he's going to have that.
I'm pretty sure those boys are about to have a pretty good season. Again, I think we talked about this off air, but, like, you give the Falcons a quarterback last year, Arthur Smith is definitely still the head coach.
Oh, yeah. I don't think Mr. FedEx would...
What's his name for the people in the back?
Matt Smith.
Okay.
Matt Smith, son of FedEx, in some circles. But yeah, in a division that's wide open, I mean, the Bucks are your biggest competition, obviously, but the Panthers aren't going to give you any fight, and probably not the Saints either. So, Falcons are sitting good. Now, are they going to have a deep playoff run? No. However, easy path for them this year to make the playoffs.
Maybe. Again, let's talk about those New York Giants, 9-7 Super Bowl winners.
I feel like that was a different time in the NFL. I feel like you couldn't do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was 2011.
Buddy, this is why you're here. This is why you're here. There's no one that does the banter quite like you, Mitch. And I'll be honest.
This is why I do this for free.
I was going to say the opposite, but have you not been getting our Venmos?
No. Different Mitch. Different short, handsome Mitch.
And this is when Andrew comes in and says, "You guys were getting paid?"
You guys are getting paid?
Nice.
We're the Millers style. The NFL is not going to use the electronic first down. Womp, womp, womp. I know, Mitch, you were big on keeping this in, I think, when we talked about this a couple weeks ago. It did not go over well. They showed it. I don't know if you guys caught it in the Lions versus Giants game. They had a first down opportunity, and it took them like 3 minutes to get the replay. So it was really quickly swept under the rug, and they are going to stick with the chain gang. The old school chains are going to be here to stay for at least a little while longer.
Well, I don't think I think the chain gang was always staying, wasn't it?
Well, I think the chain gang this year at least was going to still be there, and then as a first down call, as a touchdown call, you could use the sensors to get that, and you wouldn't have to bring the chains out to measure.
Gotcha.
And,
Okay.
and it would be like a backup. You'd still have them. You'd still have that feel, right? And then it was eventually going to get phased out if this thing continued to work. It was going to be like a dual system between the two this year, and now it just didn't go well. It just didn't go well for the NFL, so they're going to stick with the old school, stick with what works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, type of thing. So, did you guys see that you can get Sunday Ticket on the App Store now, on the Apple App Store? You don't need it through YouTube TV?
Yes, and then immediately take out a second mortgage.
I have it through the NFL app.
Oh, dude, you're cool. You have Sunday Ticket still?
NFL Plus, man. You can buy it monthly, month to month.
I don't think you have Sunday Ticket, though.
It's a little I disagree. You get Red Zone.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
What?
You're telling me for $10 a month you can get Sunday Ticket?
I think it's 15.
You're telling me for no. False.
Right here, dude. NFL Plus Premium, Red Zone from NFL Network.
That's Red Zone.
Didn't we just do this? Did I do this with somebody else? I just did this with somebody. I thought
Sunday
it was you
Ticket, Red Zone are not the same.
Red Zone's way better anyway.
Agreed. I would agree, but if you're out of market, you need Sunday Ticket.
NFL
Correct.
Plus, you can pick any game.
Only to watch on your phone, though. You can't cast it to your TV.
Okay, yeah, that's true. But, I mean, how spoiled do you need to be?
Oh, nothing like watching it on the little 5-inch screen that you have. Yeah. That's
Go hit your Peloton, play some pickleball, and throw that game up.
Boom, roasted.
Haven't been on the PB court. Mitch has probably seen my Apple Watch statistics. Haven't been out there much lately, for being honest.
If you think I pay that much attention to you, you are wrong.
Hey, sometimes you send me the little reactions, and it puts a little smile on my face. For the shareholders out there, Mitch actually does care about me. Contrary to what he says on this podcast, he does care, folks.
Minimal amount.
Just the bare minimum. But it's going to be $650, which is crazy. I don't know how many people would actually do that. I think it's
in a nutshell, the NFL is corrupt. That's what we're here to say.
Yeah. After they just lost their battle in court about Sunday Ticket, they just come back here with the ultimate FU. It's kind of funny in a way, but it's not funny. Justin Herbert, Andrew's favorite quarterback, Justin and some teammates were stuck in an elevator recently this week, and some people are saying Harbaugh may have done that on purpose. Wouldn't put it past him. But he's a hero because he kept the guys calm. And this is from Jim Harbaugh. They were stuck in the elevator for 2 hours with 11 players. Everyone came out sweating, some even shirtless, except Justin Herbert. He was calm, cool, and collected. And Harbaugh said, that was something that blew me away. This guy is just a beast.
This feels like propaganda.
It doesn't it?
It's crazy.
We need some footage of this. Where's the security footage?
I just want to know, as I put in the document, where did all the pee go? Boys, these are NFL players. They're staying hydrated. Where did all the pee go? And they hoisted them up. Did you read the whole article, Ben?
Yeah, I did hear the hoisting.
See any of this, Andrew? They literally hoisted them like up through the fire escape and had to go like out into literally like the scene, like Star Wars in Revenge of the Sith. Like crazy.
Revenge of the Sith? Or are we talking trash compactor scene?
Revenge of the Sith, like when Anakin like cuts a hole in the top of the elevator. And jumps up
Yep. Okay, I see what you're talking about. I'm
Crazy.
more of a Mission Impossible where it doesn't work out for the guy in the elevator shaft.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, you ever seen any movies before?
Yeah, I've seen a few. There's a TikTok. I should send it to you about movie watchers.
I don't have TikTok. I'm a red-blooded American, bud.
You can open it in Safari. Don't worry. You can open it in Safari. Don't worry.
Mitchell's on fire tonight.
This poor guy probably hasn't slept a full 8 hours in 9 months.
Yeah, you got that. You got that about right.
Buddy is out there fighting the good fight, and we respect what you and the Lady Lion 2.0 are on to do. And meanwhile, Andrew's just adopting new pets. No children, just pets. You want to formally introduce Mr. Murph to the Lions shareholders, the Lions Share shareholders?
I think you caught his attention there. Oh,
He can hear me? Oh,
Murph? Nah, he's sleeping.
no, I need a clarification. Is it Murph
He
or
just
Murphy?
doesn't want to listen. It's Murphy.
Okay.
And we think
I
the
wanted to make
shelter
sure I
gave
got
him
it
that
right.
name, though, so
I love Murph. Murphy's a good name too, but Murph's a great dog name.
yeah, we were going to call him Smurf.
Smurfy Murphy.
Yep.
You guys gonna have a big old to do during St. Patrick's Day? Murphy, kind of a big Saint Irish name, right?
It feels like we might be reaching now.
I feel like there's like
Couldn't agree
1,600
more.
Murphy's bars that are like got the little clover on them. No,
It feels
Murphy's?
weird to pick on a dog, but I guess I don't know what you guys do down in Texas.
Hey, we took our dog to the Home Depot this weekend, and boy, was there fanfare.
We don't allow those things in public?
Dogs? Yeah, they do. I know you were a cat guy, so maybe you don't know that about dogs. But yeah, if you're looking to take your dog somewhere to shop, you can take a dog to Home Depot, and it doesn't have to be a service dog. It's just any dogs, as long as they're well behaved and not terrorizing the place. And fun fact, a lot of the workers have treats in their aprons for the dogs, and they have water bowls for the dogs too. This is the content that you will only get here on the Lion Share podcast.
This feels like a Texas Home Depot thing only.
No, buddy. This is nationwide, but don't take them to Lowe's because Lowe's does not accept dogs. So don't go to the blue one. Go to the orange one. Yeah, that's pretty much our show. We got college football back this weekend, boys and girls. We've got Clemson taking on number 1 Georgia. That's the big one right off the bat. And then you've got Notre Dame taking on Texas A&M down there in College Station. That's the big one Saturday night. And then Sunday, of course, LSU, for whatever reason, I don't know what rule they have, but they always get the Sunday, the day before Labor Day game. They get the Sunday game. So you've got LSU taking on USC. Obviously, the big thing is conference realignment. We'll see how that plays out this year. We'll get the college football analyst back on as the college football landscape starts to take place, and we discover what Michigan is on to do this year without Harbaugh and without a lot of their key guys from last year and coming off of that national championship. Which brings me to my next point. Have you guys watched the Connor Stallions documentary? All right, I'm getting head shakes from the board. Yeah, it just came out yesterday, Tuesday. We're about halfway through it. We watched the Lady Lion 3.0, and I watched about half of it last night. We will finish it tonight and get back to you on that one. But yeah, Connor Stallions is an interesting guy, has a lot going on. Very smart guy in the head, for sure. So that one's on Netflix. It's
Smart?
Untold.
Is he mentally stable?
Well, define mentally stable. Is anybody really mentally stable these
I
days?
feel I don't need to.
Okay. You may be the most mentally stable out of this crew.
I feel like I'd probably give Murph the nod. No, guess
What
not.
are you thinking, Andrew? Are you going to get the dog any Lions attire?
Bandana's already on order. Don't worry.
Yeah, you do.
Of course, we had to get Simon one as well, so we got Simon 01 and Murph 02 on the way.
Oh, they got numbers
Also,
on.
for the listeners, college football is back tomorrow. It's
That's
showtime.
true.
The Sanders about to show out.
CMU's about to show out tomorrow, too.
Are they? They're going to be good this year?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think their win total was at like 5.5.
Ooh, that's tough. But I think they could. I think I'd take the over there.
You should do that. You want me to put that in
Can't.
for you?
Yeah, can you do that? Can you do a
Yeah.
little? Shh, 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 shh. Careful what we talk about
G on
here.
it.
Yeah, no, more. Um, how was Traverse City?
It was good. Wine tasting was great. I've been wine tasting in Petoskey. Never been in Traverse City. It lives up to the hype. It was a lot of fun. It was really hot, so I found myself not so much wine tasting as wine slushy drinking. I have no
Ah,
regrets. I had a blast. A lot of fun. There I am. Yeah, 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 yeah,
look at
yeah.
him.
Soak it
Look at
in,
this guy.
baby. I'm posted up, showing a little ankle there. You think I could sell
Oof.
that ankle pic somewhere?
What's up with
Starting to
those
laugh.
gene roll? What's going on there? You're a gene roll guy?
Just for the ankles. It's for the boys.
Oh, okay. That's a thing.
Now, are we going?
Listen, listen. There might be one person on this podcast over 6 foot tall, and that's a might.
Negative. Negative.
Okay,
It's a hard negative.
yeah. So listen, you got to roll the jeans sometimes. There's no shame in it. It looks good. It's not obnoxious. It's just enough.
What's the move there
Gotta have
with
the
the
socks
with?
for it.
Yeah, well, that was my question, which was, are you going no-show socks here or no socks?
No show socks. Well, it's a long day. That's a long day. You can't be going no socks on like a. I think we were on the. It was like a 10-hour day. 8 hours. 8
Oh,
hours.
that's a grind. I didn't know you were
Yeah.
built for that anymore these days.
What do you mean? You can't see that picture? What the flex and bust out of that shirt?
How many button downs did we go? How many buttons down
Oh, not
did we
too,
go?
not too aggressive. Not too aggressive.
No.
I think I just had top two unbuttoned.
Okay, respect that. You look great. Let me tell you, you look great.
I appreciate that. That's nice of you.
You
So
look.
that's my happy place. That makes me want to go. That makes me want to go buy a house just in the middle of nowhere and hang a hammock.
Oh God, with a nice little breeze. Did you have a breeze there?
It was hot, but there was a breeze. That the hammock was kind of swaying back and forth. It was nice. It was sublime.
Sublime. Shout out to Sublime. That is a beautiful picture,
Nice.
and I just want to be that my whole life,
Yes.
right? That's where you want to be in life. But yeah, we will.
I ain't got no crystal ball. Sublime.
Oh, that is Sublime, isn't it?
If I had $1,000,000. Something like that.
That sure as hell ain't sublime.
I was gonna. Is that? I don't practice Santeria.
I ain't got no crystal ball.
That's not Sublime, Andrew, is it?
Do we want to put a wager on this?
I can't. I figure out how to spell.
Ben, what was the wager?
I thought you were the one that said it wasn't
How
Sublime.
much, Ben? I never said that. I said whatever the hell Mitchell's voice was.
I don't think you like
isn't
my
sublime.
singing.
Oh, it was one of those situations where you're like, "Who sings that?" Let's keep
God,
it
get
that
with
way.
the times, kid.
1996 that came out. Well, wouldn't you know it? Time flies, eh? Speaking of which, time does fly. We are done with this episode. This is closing time, and yeah, Connor Stallions documentary Untold Sign Stealer on Netflix. Next week we will be back on Labor Day. We're gonna record Labor Day night because we're grinders, because we're holiday specials. We are all about the shareholders. We're gonna pump that content out even on the holiday. A little time and a half for the boys here, and then we'll have that episode out for you late Monday night, going into Tuesday for your trip back to work, unless you got a extended long weekend, for which in which case, good for you. We all know you guys are working hard out there, getting ready for football season, enjoying those last couple weeks of summer until that big cool down comes. Crisp fall mornings are coming soon, and I know Mitch is looking forward to those. That's probably his favorite next to that hammock. And then we got the Lions and Rams in a couple days here, 10 days from now, boys. and we'll preview Lions Rams. We'll preview the entire NFL season. We are going to go division by division, pick our winners, pick the Super Bowl winners, and give you the much anticipated Lions record prediction, as well as the floor and everything goes right prediction, the usual from the boys. If you guys have been around, you know what that's all about. This show is 5 stars. You should rate us all 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. We do so appreciate it. Follow us on TikTok. We're huge over there. We're huge everywhere. And without further ado, we are going to send this thing out. Andrew, you can do your thing as Jameis sends us out.
Meow.
Hey man, hey Trey, it ain't just about having fun, man. Yes, remember the time you played your best football game of your life. Yes, sir. Remember the time after that victory you went to CC's Pizza and celebrated.
We went to
with your
CC's
boys.
Pizza.
For real. Feel it in your heart, man. It's a long way back to Cleveland. Let's not leave it without a victory. All right? So put everything you got on the line today. Let's have a game of memory, man. All right? I remember. Let's go. Family number 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom.
Family.
What an
Never
American
change, James.
classic.
Never change. Let's go Lions.